Hello everyone, it's Amanda with Crafting with Amanda, and welcome to Makers with Heart August. We are trying to stretch our paper kits with mix-ins. Mix-ins are great. They're the patterns, kind of a tone-on-tone pattern in the colors that work with the papers that are in that particular idea book. But because Close to My Heart keeps their color palette for a long time, I have pulled mix-in papers from 2000, 2001. I know the one that I chose is from April to June of 2023. And I just loved how this charcoal paper, the grid paper, kind of worked with my photo. And I'll tell you more about the photo, but my inspiration piece came from Pinterest. And what is inspiring me, it kind of is the layout, but it's also the blocky squares that look almost like a messy inking where they just did the outside edges of a block. And I'm going to achieve that in a different way, so stay tuned to see how I do that. But again, I'm just taking inspiration, so I'm going to cut a 5.5 inch piece because then I know my photo will be centered in that and also centered within the lines on the grid paper. I'm going to cut it at 6 inches because I'm going to do a banner end. I've seen so many of those. I know I did some banner ends in my mom's album that this is going to go in. I did not realize that this photo had names on the back of it written by my granddad with the date and everything. So off camera, I went ahead and printed that right to a white cardstock, and I will use that kind of as my journaling on the page. And then I'm auditioning different papers here to do a double matte on this photo. These old photos that I have are really thick, and it also has a nice white border, but I wanted to kind of gently transition that to the charcoal grid paper. So I'm just doing a real thin border of the wisteria. And the wisteria, and why I was kind of drawn to the Cape Cod paper with this photo, the wisteria kind of picks up some of the blue tones that are in this photo. It's hard to see on camera, but it just really kind of helps pop the faces and the people that are in the photo. And here I'm just cutting my banner ends, and I like to cut a slit up the middle and then from each corner up. It's a little harder when it's not just one scissor clip to get it straight, but again, if people are looking that closely at your paper trimming, then I think they're missing the point of scrapbooking. That's just me. So here what I did is I took a charcoal piece of cardstock, and then I put on top of it this wisteria paper with the anchors on it, cut down to 11.5 by 11.5, and then I'm just going through the scraps that I have left over from my Cape Cod kit. And I also have some embellishments that are left over from my mom's other album that I made for her way back Mother's Day 2022, so that this can go right in that album and it'll still have the same blue-gray theming with the embellishments. I went ahead and matted the names and date from the back of the photo that I printed on Lagoon cardstock to kind of give some balance to the stripes that are in the paper, but also more to the waves that I'm using from the zip strip. And then Julie Scott had sent me some die cuts from the Cape Cod collection for our mystery envelopes. And if you missed the mystery envelopes, those videos are in the playlist that's below, as well as the other gals that are going to show you how to use mix-ins this month. So if you just want to kind of watch all of our projects for the last little while, you click on that playlist and YouTube will just let you stream right through it. So now the photo negative strip thin cut as well as the scallop lacy border are both embellishments in the charcoal that kind of will help tie this page into my mom's album. Like I said, I kind of did some threads throughout the album of blues and greens, but every page has at least one of the following items: a photo thin cut, like the photo negative, it has a scallop border, or it has one of two sets of leaves from the thin cuts. So I'm not going to use the leaves today, but the photo frame and one little piece of that scalloped edge will be on here. And here again, I am just playing with scraps that are left over. I'm really proud of myself. I've gotten better at doing layering and just using up scraps and tucking and things. And I think some of it is just finding a balance. And so when I put the brown wood grain underneath the names, I needed something at the top of that to help give it balance. And I know I'm going to have that same brown tone in the bottom corner where I had that photo strip and the fencing that Julie had sent us last month. So here's what I'm going to do. I was talking about with that inspiration piece is I am taking the sprigs and leaves stencils, and I will have those listed below in case you want to see if they're still available. Sometimes things are available for a short amount of time, and other times they're available for a long time. So I will have a link below if you want to see if this is still available at the time that you're watching it. But I really like this. It's a layered stencil. So now with pewter, which is kind of the second generation of charcoal, I am laying down the base of these leaves, and then I'm going to highlight it with the charcoal color. So this is the highlight or the next layer of the stencil, and I'm using the masking tape as just that, as a masking, because I didn't want to have such a long stencil on this page. I wanted to have this iteration and then a smaller one lower with the photo frame, and then I'll do another one up in the corner. So now with the charcoal ink, which is a little darker, I'm just going ahead and using my blender brush and highlighting, basically just stenciling, but it's automatically highlighting, plus adding this other element of these small leaves onto this feature that I'm doing. And you notice that I did go off the edge of my stencil and make kind of a harsh line, and I am going to want to complete that process, and I'll show you how I do that. I just turned the stencil upside down, and my goal is to just rock the brush on the tip of it so that I'm not actually getting any more stenciled. I could have masked that off to make sure of it, but I just went really light and I think it turned out fine. Again, if people are looking at my scrapbook pages for those little details or mistakes, I think they're missing the picture of scrapbooking. So now I'm going to move the stencil to this upper corner, and I'll do that same thing again. So I went to the Cricut and I'm cutting out Meet the Rogers as my title. So the Meet the is just one thickness, but the word Rogers, because that's my grandparents' last name, is 3 thicknesses. I just stack those together with glue, and it just gives it a little more weight to the page. So I had gone through my gems and sparkles collection, and at first I thought I was going to be using Lagoon gems, but when I tried them, I wasn't feeling it. So then I just decided I would go with the clear sparkles. But when I went to the clear sparkles, I found this black and white, and there's some smoky gray ones in there that I think are just perfect for the charcoal. So these are things that are in my stash. It was brand new. I know when we were moving and doing other things, I had ordered some stuff, and I actually misplaced a whole tote of brand new items from our move from the rental house in California to our permanent house, and then COVID hit. So it's kind of fun, and I feel good about using some of these supplies that I've had around for a while. So I've now kind of drawn your eye from the lower left to the upper right, and I'm going to take the shimmer brush, and I did shake it off camera, and I'm going to take a block here, and then I just kind of squeeze. Normally it doesn't drop out, but it happened to drop out, and then I'm going to splatter that shimmer brush kind of the opposite direction that the paper itself is taking your eye across the layout. So you can see those sparkles there. So this is my layout with adding and stretching with the mix-ins. Be sure to check out what all the other girls did below. You will see the playlist. Kim is not able to play along with us yet, so keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Have a great day. Be a blessing.